Hey, good evening, everyone, and thank you for bearing with this extremely long intro that I did on the spare. Most of it was already used before in previous shows, but I was playing around with some new stuff. I just didn't have enough time to actually trim it down the way I like it. Welcome to Everybody Knows, or no, they don't know me. Mark knows everybody, and the reason this show is named this is because I didn't give it. I did not create the name of the show. It was a bunch of people that who did and said, "Hey, Mark, this will fit." This show is mainly based on people I know, friends of mine on my friends list, who I just wanted to put in a spotlight, such as my friend Terry here from Ireland, who's looking. Oh, thank you, Terry. Wait till you see John. I just put on, and it's really odd and rare for me to put on something like this for interviews that I normally do. As you guys know, I'm a pro celebrity moderator. At least I've been called a pro celebrity moderator, and I've sat down and spent time with a lot of celebrities in my, believe it or not, 35-year hobby, because this is not a career. But it's my friends on my face list who I consider very, very, very important to me. And I just wanted to put them in the spotlight and show them to you. They're friends of mine that you should know. So believe it or not, this is our 16th episode, guys. We've had 16, no, not 16 friends. Usually I have two people per episode, 30 minutes each. But John deserved a full hour or less of his own show, basically, for this, because he's a very important individual in the fan circles. And I hope you guys enjoy meeting him tonight. Those of you guys who are, in fact, in our chat room, you're more than welcome to comment if you have any questions for John whatsoever. That's highly possible here. So just go right ahead. But let me show you a little bit of who basically John is. As you've seen already, he's a producer. He's a creator. He's a supplier. He's an actor of independent films. And his main independent film company at the time, he'll explain to us a little bit more about this, is Farragut Films. And he's been associated with Star Trek Continues and Starship Farragut, but he is very, very, very talented. And I want to go ahead and bring John up on the screen here. Hey, buddy boy.
Hey, good evening, Mark and everyone.
Can you hear us? Are you fine? You're 5x5. Are we okay? How you doing?
I'm good. I can hear you just plain and clear.
Well, what's up with you, Andy Rowe? Good to see you. Good to hear from you. Hey, John, you're my special guest this evening. You got a whole show to yourself. You're not sharing the screen with anyone. Unfortunately, a lot of my friends who are probably watching this broadcast right now are going, "What the F? What? We had to share." And this dude, who is this dude? Well, let's tell him. John, who are you?
I am as you pointed out, I'm a content provider. I like to think of myself as a independent filmmaker and Star Trek fan, James Bond fan.
Yeah. And it's interesting. I did not know the James Bond part. I don't know if you knew this or not, but I emceed or helped create and MC a James Bond convention. Actually, it was called Spy Fest. And it was held on the Queen Mary in Long Beach. We did an entire convention on the Queen Mary. And the biggest James Bond guest that we had was George Lazenby. We had him. We had a couple Bond girls. We had a former director of the KGB. We had a bunch of different types of guests. What was his name? Robert Culp, of course, from I Spy.
I Spy, yeah.
Yeah. And that was years and years ago, but I remember I flew out to California to host Spy Fest. So it's very interesting to hear that you are a James Bond fan. But outside of that, we know you for creating things and people such as this. And there's my good buddy Eric in the background. Eric.
Yes.
Moran, you can see.
I love it.
And I want to
Smoke,
as we call him, former professional wrestler. a major cosplayer in the industry. But we want to ask you a little bit about Starship Farragut. But before we go right into the creation of Starship Farragut, what is your connection with sci-fi, fantasy, comics, whatever?
Well, I was always a fan of Star Trek, and I was known in the underworld, the underground prop community, under the label Captain JTK, and I made replica TOS prop kits, tricorders, communicators, phasers, and in around 2003, 2004, I saw the works of Starship Exeter, then Star Trek New Voyages, and I just started to pen our own treatment. I was motivated and inspired to do our own vision of Trek that was not parody, taking the props that I had and extending that into making costumes, pulling in friends and family, and making sets and making our own version of Star Trek.
And you have a very, very good looking group of people who obviously listened to your vision and decided to become a part of your vision, and is basically in Star Trek history forever. Because independent films, although they were not supported by the major studios out there, or there was some drama in the past or whatever, it's still creative Star Trek, you know, regardless of whether you're an author or like you do, independent films, you know, the animated films. Mm-hmm. You are, in fact, the contributor to the Star Trek universe. May I see? Have you ever been told that? Do you feel that way?
We've been told similar things. I think that I would say that we are definitely, Starship Farragut is one of the oldest continuing running Star Trek fan films. We started in 2005. We put a very humble series trailer out, and that was our proof of concept. Many of us did not know anything about filmmaking. And when I took out money out of my 401k and I bought all the camera, audio, video equipment, only knew how to turn the equipment on. But we, through that and being totally committed, I mean, and having more and more people come aboard, we were able to get our sea legs and improve with each episode. And I think it was the culmination of when we made The Price of Anything in 2011. I think it took us about 5 to 6 years. And at that point, the acting, the camera work, everything just came together, and it really coalesced in that body of work. And that's my favorite episode. And it's a father and son universal story. You don't need to be familiar with Star Trek to watch it, to enjoy it. Then we made other episodes. And it was at that point we had Vic Mignogna brought on board. He was our director. And thereafter, he then started to work on Star Trek Continues. Mm-hmm. Right. He shared the studio. Collectively, we made our own episodes of Star Trek. His was more Kirk, Spock, and McCoy, whereas I wanted a different crew. I thought, you know, there's a whole fleet of ships. It was canon. There was 12 or 13 Constitution-class starships, and I just took one out there, Farragut, and developed a whole backstory and universe. And with our own emblem, we and our own characters and everything, we started to tell our own stories. And the vision was that this would just be like you have CSI, and there's already all these spinoffs, and you have yes. Law and Order and all these spinoffs. It was the same concept that if you manually turn the dial in 1967, you would, you know, instead of Star Trek, you would come upon Starship Farragut, and we would be telling the same type of Horatio Hornblower and space episodes, but a different crew. I felt that at the time that no one other than William Shatner could play Kirk and Leonard Nimoy as Mr. Spock, and I didn't feel that we would I felt there was too much emotional baggage with those celebrities who've been playing those characters for so long. Unlike James Bond, who you could swap out with different actors and have their own take. I just felt that for Star Trek, you really needed to have a different ship, different crew, and different adventure approach. So that's essentially how we started and where we progressed.
Well, let's go ahead. You were nice enough to supply me with a few videos, and guys, stand by. We got a special video to show you guys. Somewhere in the show. Not going to tell you when and where, but watch this entire show and you won't miss it. But I want to show you. This is the trailer, I do believe, for the beginning of Starship Farragut. This is your first trailer.
Oh my God! Yes, very humble beginnings. You'll see the difference. Yeah, please. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, let's see if that humility is. I mean, it's great as you are, but this is something that I think people should understand. And if they're doing any filming, independent filming, and like you said, let me ask you: this is from 2005.
It is. It is. And to elaborate on your question, things that we've been told, because of us, we've been able to spawn off and help launch other Star Trek fan films. You mentioned the more prominent Star Trek Continues. There's Trek Isolation with Eric.
Oh, yes, with
and
Eric.
Dave Turner. There's also Dreadnought Dominion, Exeter Trek. I mean, there's countless ones. And the studio is still being used today by other Star Trek fan film groups.
And we're going to get to that. I'm going to ask you questions about that set, the world famous set that we all know of. But let's take a look at this.
Godspeed, Jack Carter. Kirk out.
That freaking rocks.
And that was in 2005, Mark. I mean, that shows you, I mean, just very humble beginnings. We filmed that series trailer at Mason Neck State Park. Paul Sieber, I think, directed, if I'm not mistaken. Doug Drexler.
Yeah, it's Doug.
And friend.
That freaking rocks. I mean, I can barely cut together something in Photoshop, for God's sakes. I mean, I really am nursery school style when I put together any kind of graphics or media related things that I could find. And I am just so humble with all the friends that I have met and that I know. Oh, you think that's wow, Lorraine? Wait till the rest that I show you. That is nothing. That's freaking almost 20 years old. Can you imagine that, John? It's been
yeah.
Can you imagine?
It's crazy, a whole generation. And that's coming into when we get to the new project, it's going to be a good segue into that discussion. Yep. A new generation. It's crazy. 16 years.
In 2005, what Star Trek series was still on when you produced that?
I believe, if I'm not mistaken, that Enterprise had just wrapped up was wrapping up when we started. Yeah.
So basically the end of actually the last Trek series for a few years had ended. Yeah, because Enterprise was the last before we jumped ahead into the Discovery, series and all. But that is absolutely phenomenal. So let me go ahead and ask you a few more questions. Once again, anyone, if you have a question for John, his work, anything that he's done, you have a chance to ask him the question live right here. Other than that, you can do that over the Facebook page. I had questions there, but if it's anything that you want to know about John himself, the other question I wanted to ask was this crew. How many of them are still around towards the end? And in fact, when was the last episode filmed of Farragut? What year?
So this episode, or that screenshot, was from, I believe, Homecoming, and we were using that not only to close out Starship Farragut and branch out to the next chapter, the movie era of Starship Farragut. We also wanted to launch the Trek Isolation spinoff as well, and so the people that are around me are mostly the.
Yeah, as soon as you said the people that are around me, this is the only relevant shot to that right now. So,
and if you look at that shot, that's an homage to both.
You got me here. Okay, there you go. I put it back.
That's an homage to both James Bond and Trek there.
Yeah, perfect. Perfect. I love it. I love it. But let's go back to your crew shot here. So are most of these people still with you, or were they there till the? Well,
Dean Rogers, the navigator, has been with us since our second episode in 2007 for One of a Nail, and he's been with us, one of the longest crew members on board Farragut. Gina Hernandez, next to him, is she worked with us, both her and Frank. Both pictured in there. They started to work with us from The Price of Anything, and they've been with us since 2011.
Mm-hmm. How about Smoke? Smoke went on to be part of Isolation, right?
He did. It was him and Dave Turner's joint project.
I see.
And I was a fellow producer, and I think
that's Dave Turner. And that's Dave Turner on your left.
Dave Turner is to my, if I'm looking at him facing, he would be to my left, and he's flanking Eric. So
yes. Yeah.
Dave's character is Captain Hawkins of the Babylon, and Smoke's character is called Jericho, and he's the first officer, science officer.
That is awesome. Why don't we go ahead and take a little peek at this? Was, you said, the Homecoming episode?
Yes, which is our series finale. We filmed it 5 years ago. It's been in post-production hell, but it's going to be released here in a couple months.
Oh, I'm lost. Are we jumping ahead here? This is not the new episode that you're filming, right?
This is not the new project.
I see. So this Homecoming has never hit the airways. Is that what you're saying?
That's what I'm saying. It's never been released.
Wow. Okay, guys, you're about to get an exclusive of a new Starship Farragut episode called Homecoming, and you saw the crew in the last clip. Let's go ahead and watch this clip.
Hello, John. You're to report to your home port, Utopia Planitia.
For the refit, sir?
To be decommissioned. I'm sorry, John. She just won't be able to handle the upgrade. And with the new ships in progress, well, I'm afraid her time is over. Godspeed, Starship Farragut. McCann out.
Wow, I actually wanted to hold that to the end, but you know what? I'm going to play it again at the end. So how did you, Stan and I had a special relationship for many years, and I always get a little shooken up when I'm seeing Dad, as I always called him, being there. So how did that happen?
Well, I'm kind of sworn to secrecy, but safe to say that Dave Turner and Eric had a lot to do with that. And like you, I would say that there's three prominent content creators out there that have had probably the biggest influence in my life. Ian Fleming as it relates to James Bond, Gene Roddenberry as it relates to Star Trek, and Stan Lee as it relates to Marvel Comics. I mean, growing up, I was the biggest Spider-Man fan out there. Grew up watching The Incredible Hulk on TV. I mean, the Marvel, the Avengers, all the Marvel characters in the whole universe that he brought to life. I mean, and I have to tell you that he was as genuine of a person. I mean, having worked with a lot of celebrities, a lot of them can have ego and narcissistic tendencies and just, but Stan Lee was the real deal. And you couldn't meet a more genuine, nicest guy. And, they say don't ever meet your heroes because you'll be disappointed. That's not true with him. I mean, he literally was the real deal, as you know. And I was grateful. I got his measurements. I made his uniform that was worn in that. And after we were done filming, the Stanley Traveling Museum that would go with him to conventions, that would have the Iron Man and would have Captain America's shield. His uniform from our filming was prominently displayed among all those artifacts.
Wow.
So it was an honor to have had him work with us. And I don't think he's worked with, I could be wrong, but I don't think he's worked with anyone, a cameo outside the Marvel comic universe.
Yeah, that's kind of weighing heavy on me. So excuse me, guys, if I'm a little off my beat here, but anyway, so we're going to show that again, guys, at the end of the broadcast here, because that's very special to a lot of people. But maybe I ought to ask you next time which clip we should play. But since I had that picture up, I had no idea what I was going to see, and didn't realize that the picture was in reference to a clip that I wanted to show at the end. So
sure. And if I could make any suggestions, I think The Price of Anything, which you have a clip for, the teaser trailer. For those that may not be familiar with Starship Farragut, I think that's a good primer for them to get kind of indoctrinated about who and what we are as it relates to classic Trek.
Okay, so why don't we go ahead and show that? We still have photos to show. We still have things we want to talk about, but that's something. You're right. Let's do that now.
Eric.
Next time on Starship Farragut.
Is that any way to greet your own father?
Not the worst I've seen, but not the best.
They're giving this planet a second chance at life. Everything deserves a second chance.
Took you 20 years to realize that you might want to reconnect with me?
You have to understand.
No, I don't.
Proximity alert! Vessel decloaking directly ahead, arming weapons.
Stabilize!
Trying, sir.
That smoke? That must have been from the ship that hit us.
Do not move, humans.
My God!
Hot damn!
Now tell me does that not feel like, I mean, the look and feel of a new episode of TOS?
I'm surprised after all these years I've never seen it, but I'm so mad that I haven't seen it. That alone, the trailer alone, if trailers pull you in, man, that's definitely an invitation to see the entire episode. What was that episode called again?
The Price of Anything.
Wow. That was, I mean, even the Stan Lee bit was fantastic as well. But oh my goodness, I'm sure. Good job, Russell. I mean, good job. that is fantastic. The quality, I mean, just the level of filmmaking that you just show right there in, you know, the trailer, but the special effects alone. How did you come up with grabbing someone to do special effects that's of that quality? They're incredible.
Well, that's an interesting story. Neo FX, Michael Struck.
Neo,
on the West Coast.
Uh-huh.
He was wanting to work, I believe, with Star Trek New Voyages at the time. They already had Max Wren doing a lot of those effects, who's out in Hollywood. I don't know if that was his pseudonym, who was working with James Cawley. And so he was Michael Struck and Neo FX were looking for a group to attach themselves, and he connected with us. And so the timing was fortuitous that we got connected. And he's done, Neo FX has done all of our special effects work from day one. And we with Homecoming, one of the reasons why it's taken 5 years to get it released is because we had different people doing, for the last film, Michael Struck was looking to transition out of fan film type work, and he wasn't available. And so we had leveraged some other CGI artists to work on the project. All, as you know, with fan films, it's all volunteer.
Right, of course.
They punted, and we couldn't get other people. And then so we pulled Michael Struck back in, and he's been working with Kenneth Thompson on the special effects.
Okay.
So that's who we got doing the special effects. Matt Busey, for that particular film, was the director of photography, and we filmed at our studio in Kingsland, Georgia. The exterior shots were filmed out in California.
That's phenomenal. But it's similar to the people that I pull onto the show. The reason why this show is called, Mark Knows Everybody is because even though we communicate over Facebook and there is a percentage of them that I have met in person, and I just don't let anyone friend me on Facebook if I haven't met you at least once somehow at some level. Is the talent. It's what's underlying behind the smiles and the faces and the eyes and even the costumes alone. I mean, Eric, I don't know where the hell. I think, yeah, I do. I met Eric at a Wizard World in Philadelphia, and nice as get out, one of the greatest guys ever.
Yes.
I had no idea the level, of costuming. I mean, he introduced me to Ivy, and it's like, how do they create this stuff? I mean, I'm an architect. Maybe they can ask me the same question. It just flows out of me, but I throw away a pair of socks when I get a hole in them. I was like, what do you mean needle and thread? Kiss my butt. So it's unbelievable. Oh, by the way, hi Nick, how you doing, buddy? I put you up there. I didn't respond. My apologies. How you doing, buddy? But that was incredible, guys. We got about 3 more clips, so maybe 2 more clips to show you guys. But I want to ask you, John, what is your daily pleasure in terms of whatever? Let's go that way, because I'm going to ask you a very, very personal question at the end of my show that I ask everyone. This is going to be a very, very interesting question. Whether you want to answer it or not, it's okay. But what is your personal pleasure when you wake up in the morning, okay, and you rotate your legs out of the bed onto the floor? What are you excited to get to? What are you excited to get to?
My motivation is being able to make movies, make stories that people will enjoy. I've done some James Bond parody type work. I've done some other creative film projects. I've done also some professional film work for the federal government, training videos and PSAs. But I tell you, being able to do creative work, whether it's working on costume development or scripts or working with a director of photography, or doing some camera work, or doing video editing. It's being able to put together movies and films that people will enjoy. That is my motivation. That's what gives me the driving passion when I wake up in the morning.
Well, it's an incredible passion. Guys, we're going to have some very interesting photos to show you, so hang in there. This is John Broughton here on MARC Knows Everybody, and I'm going to go ahead and pay our bills here by showing you a clip. So you guys stand by, and it's a very important clip, so please do what it says, okay, or I will find you.
I'm GW Pomager.
I'm Dina Marie.
I'm Sage Ia.
I'm Thomas Carter Rochester.
Hey, I'm David Thompson.
Hi, I'm Kevin.
And I'm Mia.
Hi, I'm Mark.
Hey there, this is Dave Adams.
Hi, I'm Rosemary Rose.
Jerome Conner here.
Hey guys, it's Josh Bauer.
It's Willow Schuyler.
I'm Cosplay Michael.
Abba. It's your boy Country.
I'm Ryan Permison.
And I'd like to ask you guys,
please subscribe.
Please subscribe.
Please subscribe.
Please subscribe.
Please subscribe.
Please subscribe.
Please
subscribe.
Subscribe.
Please subscribe to HWWS
Web TV.
Great bunch of people.
And don't forget to smash the bell.
Ring that bell.
Smash that bell.
Hit that bell.
Hit the bell to be notified.
Hit the bell to get notified of new shows
and videos.
You're going to want to do that, so do that soon.
So we can cross that 20,000 mark.
And get us to 100,000 subscribers.
To 1 million, and 10 million, and 100 million.
On HWWS.
Web TV.
You really like it. I guarantee it.
Thank you.
Smoke, good to see and hear you from you. Oh, we can't see you at all, but good to hear you, man. I'm looking forward to have John appear as a special guest on my Orville Fans series.
I would love to be.
You are aware of Eric's fantastic series. I think he's up to episode 3, if I'm not mistaken, or he hasn't done episode 3.
Yeah. And
they're short, 8 minutes, 10 minutes? I wish he'd do a full 30-minute show at least.
And I think he's the only one doing an Orville fan film production.
Yes, he's got
he's full force on it.
Yes, he's got the blessings from actors and producers from the series. My friends are freaking awesome. I think I had Eric. No, have I had Eric on this show yet? I don't think so. I think he's due next once we get our scheduling together. But, you guys are so, I need a hobby. I design for a living, but I love my job. I absolutely adore my job. I've been doing it forever. I've actually been in architecture since I was 15 years old, and I enjoy it. But the fun stuff, I used to be able to build things with my hands. I love getting under a sink and fixing plumbing and things of that nature. But I'm in a house that doesn't need those services. So if this was in fact your hobby, is there anything in addition that you do to just your full-time job, which we haven't spoken about as of yet, but is there any other hobby?
I would say that British tailoring, that's something that I
Whoa. Educate this idiot. British tailoring? Are you a Kingsman?
I would love to be a Kingsman.
So tell us more about this British tailoring and how it has become a hobby. How is it a hobby?
Well, in 2004, I wanted to make Star Trek. The thing is that you can't go into a store and just buy Star Trek uniforms. So I had to learn how to sew. And then I amassed over the years a whole bunch of equipment, and through classes and DIY and reading books and learning how to sew, and I learned how to tailor my own clothes. I learned how to make pants and shirts and vests.
Why the hell have I been going to stores buying crap? And I know.
And then so we were after Homecoming in 2015, 2016. I kind of tabled fan films and Star Trek, and I was more of a James Bond, and I was working to get into more bespoke fashion. Marianne Diabo from Living Daylights. But yeah, I learned how to do that. So I was very much into fine men's tailoring, but more bespoke. Hence my handle on Instagram, Bespoke JB.
Aha. Now I understand. JB.
So I just applied those sewing skills I learned from making Star Trek uniforms and applied it to, more of the modern men's clothing and a slant towards British fashion.
I'm gobsmacked right now. I mean, here I am, a single guy, and I can't cook. I throw socks away when I get holes in them. You can cook and you can sew my socks up, and well, at least cook on film. I don't know how you are, over a stove, but wow, I am impressed. I am glad to say that I know you, and you will be getting my laundry. Okay, just so you know. So
and Eric, such a good supporter. When I was talking about Stan Lee, Eric too is one of those guys who just truly genuine. I mean, he really enjoys interacting with people. A people person. I mean, he meets so many people at these conventions and appearances as different characters, and he truly enjoys doing that. He came down from Philly to my son's, I think he was his 5th year birthday, dressed as Cyborg, and my son was into, I want to say Super Friends, but I know that'd be wrong, but the Justice League.
Justice League, yeah. Cyborg is Justice League, or Teen Titans if you want to go there too.
Right.
Yeah.
Teen Titans, yeah. He was a big Teen Titans fan, and Eric did that along with some other friends, the Justice League characters. So.
Well, you're absolutely right, because my friends list, and one of the reasons that I do this show, one of 4 different shows that I do, is because I surround myself with quality people. Because of who I know and who I've been with, some people feel that, here's their opportunity to take advantage of me. Hey, so-and-so, or hey, I'll give you $1 million if you get this. Hey, Stanley's right over there. Can I go speak to him? And,
right.
I have weeded out people from my friends list over the years. I think I had 5,000 at one point, but I'm down to like 1,500 or something like that, only because, at some point you will make yourself known to me, and I will see things that does not fit in my bowl of quality. And everyone that's on my friends list now, and everyone that I showcase on this show, is of the highest caliber, the highest quality of person. If I ever got married, these would be 1,500 of my bridesmaids and my groomsmen. Simple as that. And you fit into that caliber of
individual. Thank you. I'm honored.
And so does Smoke, who we were discussing previously. He is of the highest caliber, the highest quality of human being that I know. Mm-hmm. And along with other people that are appearing on this show, that's where you guys stand. That's why this show, this is the snooty show. Okay, we're just so special and so incredible that no one else should be allowed to be in our room and breathe the air. You're not allowed to, it's the snooty show. It's my people. Garrett alone is my good buddy right there, who always owns the last commercial that I showed you guys. That's his show, and he's responsible for that. But you guys, this is who you are. You are my friends, my buddies, my pals. And you've been an incredible friend to me. I've known you for God knows how long. I really don't know. Jennifer, I love you too, baby. Her husband is a co-host for Saturday morning cartoons I do every Saturday at 9 a.m. And we ask people if you have cartoons that you fell in love with. He's actually doing a show on DC animated shows this Saturday.
Well, Mark, since you mentioned cartoons, animated shows, maybe that's a good segue to talk about Starship.
You are the
animated
man. I'm not even going to let you preface this because I've seen it. What, ladies and gentlemen, I'm putting my face in your face right now. What, ladies and gentlemen, independent series, fan-made productions that you know of that actually created an animated version of their own freaking fan film? Who does that? Who does that? Oh my God, I have created fire. Guys, you have got to watch this. This blew me out of my chair when I saw it. I'm like, how the hell they do that? Oh my God, this is incredible. Come on, I double clicked you. Play.
You know Captain Carter and the crew of the USS Farragut. But you have never seen them like this. After 35 years, animated Star Trek is back. Neo Effects and Farragut Films present Starship Farragut, the animated episodes. Jam the torpedoes. Warp speed ahead.
What the hell, man?
Well,
I want to see more.
That was done. They're all of our films, and including the animated episodes, are all on YouTube.
Right.
So just check out, search Starship Farragut animated episodes, and we had we produced 2 episodes, and NeoFX spearheaded that whole project. We had Tim Russ, Chase Masterson, Chris Doohan, who plays his father's role as Scotty.
Right.
And we also had a cameo voice over by Lou Scheimer, who was the co-producer and co-founder of Filmation. Those episodes are based on the same Filmation style as the 1970s Star Trek. And he, as Filmation was kind of, although Star Trek acquired, or Paramount CBS acquired the animation, it was originally done by Filmation. And so Michael Struck of NeoFX got the approval by Lou. He blessed it. We both flew out to California and met with Lou. We went to his home in Burbank, and just the greatest guy. He took us out to lunch, and he even drove us out in Beverly Hills to lunch, and was just the nicest guy. But he appreciated what we did. He had some great stories to tell us about as it relates to He-Man and the toy company Mattel. He has a tagline against them that I can't say on this show, but
There's no FCC governing this broadcast, dude. You can say whatever the hell you want.
Yeah, he used to say "fuck Mattel."
There you go. And that's better.
But yeah, there was no love lost with that. But he was funny and just a great guy. And he he produced a lot of Saturday morning cartoon shows, both live action and animation. There was ISIS, the ARC.
Oh yeah,
these
ARC
great
2
shows, and everything. When everything was being pushed over to overseas, China or Japan, to get cartoons done cheaply, he kept everything in the U.S.
Oh, I hate you so much, dude. I hate you so much. Like I said, our Saturday morning cartoon show has been going on for a few years now. And I actually headed up a segment. I have 2 other co-hosts. I headed up a segment on Filmation. And to hear you say that you literally, now I sound like a fanboy. I've sat next, hugged Stan Lee, you name him, William Shatner. I got a huge moderating list that's coming up for Dragon Con next month. And I don't give a damn about those. All I care about was the fact that you were 6 inches away from a cartoon legend. And I hate you so much. Good God, man. That really sucks. Let me ask you another question. Do you got a private life?
I do. I have my family life with my wife, and
I have met her. I didn't have time to get your permission for this, so I'm not going to do it if you don't want us to. But I do have photos of you and your wife.
Sure. Yeah.
You sure? Okay.
Absolutely.
Well, let's do this one. No, let's do this one first. Who's this character?
That is my son.
Good looking dude.
He is the spitting image of me. There's some pictures I posted side by side around the same age, and
really?
He is also and a fellow actor. He is going to make his acting debut in a film called Red Eagle 1, which was written, directed, and filmed by a guy named Johnny Karzai. And that will be on both Amazon and YouTube. His first film, which he produced last year, right out of the gate, the Killer of Grassy Ridge, has won like probably 50 film festival awards. It's not a fan film; it's a film short, very suspenseful. It's just very well done. He hit a home run in his first time, unlike when I was working on all this. But and speaking of Johnny, when we started our project, I'll table that for a second. But yeah, that's my son Xavier, and he did an outstanding job, and he just was a natural as it relates to filming. Yep, there's my wife, Tito.
My wife, yes. Very, very. Are you guys in church? What's going on in the background there?
We're at the National Harbor.
Oh, right, in DC. That's right. Yeah. Is that where you live, John? You live in DC?
I live in the DMV, the Washington DC area.
Excellent, excellent. That is a very, very beautiful woman. Excellent choice there, or actually her choice, shall I say? But and then who do we have here?
That is my daughter Ava.
Okay.
And she's
very beautiful.
She's almost as tall as me. I mean, she's just isn't that something? And who's the gentleman on the far right? That is Alex. He's the eldest, and he is a senior now at the Cleveland Institute of Art.
Wow.
That very talented animator and game designer. And
wow. So you have three, and they're all very talented and very attractive. I am really happy to see such a loving family like this from that. Well, he's not a member.
And there's Frank and Gina.
Yeah, it's Frank and Gina from Farragut. Hey, does Frank play? Did he play your dad in one scene?
Yes.
Got it.
So we just like original Trek, they brought in actors over and over again. The Dr. Pulaski on Next Gen, she was used on I think 3 episodes or 2 or 3 episodes of a classic Trek. Frank plays my father in The Price of Anything, and then in the next episode he's Commander Foster.
Wow.
Well,
that's great. All right. Before we move on to your final clip, I think this is. Did we do 4? Which one of these did we not do? Oh, The Crossing.
That The Crossing is one of our pinnacle episodes. The Price of Anything is my favorite, and I would say The Crossing. That was going to be our swan song. Mike Bednar, fellow producer, and we had been doing this for it was going on 10 years. I felt like we were done as it relates to classic Trek, and I had already been working on the next chapter of Farragut. And so when we filmed it, and it was our longest time, I think it's an hour and 20-minute episode.
Right.
And it really was some elements that I wanted to see done in terms of the Farragut universe. It was our Mirror episode. It was also a sequel, if you think about it, to the episode For Want of a Nail. And Paul Sieber wrote both The Crossing and The Price of Anything, and is an exceptional storyteller as well as an actor. And so when we did that film, I thought it was going to be our last, and it was thereafter Paul wrote Homecoming. And after we had sold the studio, the sets to Vic, we had it in the contract to be able to do one more filming within the studio and the sets within a year's time. And the plan was that we would do a documentary on Farragut Films, because so much positive things have happened.
Sure.
All these other fan films, you had people that met and got married through our production, and it springboarded or helped launch Star Trek Continues. I just thought it would be a good way to kind of tidy up and be the last string for us. And so, but when Paul wrote the script for Homecoming, and I was already working in pre-production for Farragut Forward, which was the movie era, the next chapter of us, but not in TOS, but in the movie eras. The movie era, so if you would think of Star Trek II: The Wrath of Khan and those beautiful nautical burgundy uniforms that they used, it was going to be from that point forward. And we would tell new stories. We would mix up the crew. And kind of losing my thought here. But the Crossing was truly our swan song. It is an exceptional story. It's great. Again, you want to watch for one of a nail before you watch it. But it really is, it's our Mirror Mirror episode, but done without all the cliches of the Mirror Mirror. You know.
Okay, we're going to show The Crossing, and then I'm going to get back to the sets, and then we're going to talk about your new project. Okay? So stand by. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Starship Farragut, The Crossing trailer.
Next time on Starship Farragut.
You may recognize
Captain's
that voice.
Log, Stardate 5816.5. While en route to Starbase 6, we received a distress signal from an unexpected source.
I'm sure your Federation wouldn't be happy to see us.
Shields.
Shields! Red alert! We theorized that a rift would open here, and my ship was dispatched. We were shocked to discover what it opened to. My first officer, Commander Ian Donnelly.
Ian? Ian?
It's me.
Oh, Ian, I missed you so much.
Savages.
Shut up, fool! Don't get any stupid ideas! What I just said?
Controls aren't responding.
We got nothing.
Farragut is secure, sir.
My weapon is set to torture.
Don't!
It's time for your crew to go nighty-night, Captain.
Wow, man. Such suspense, such intrigue, you know, it draws you in. The trailers are done so well, you know, and the quality alone, even the lighting is perfect. You know, it's what we remember when we grew up when we were watching the reruns. This is utterly fantastic. I am so psyched. And literally, hey folks, what I'm about to bring up is the fact that if you have not signed on to their YouTube channel, or subscribe to a YouTube channel, you should. That way you can keep up on that. By the way, Smoke says that your kids have gotten big.
Yes, they have.
Yeah. Well, that's good that you guys at least, you know, are good friends, and he can visit at any time to see it. Let's talk about this set. Okay, the classic TOS bridge set was. You said you sold it to Vic. Who built the set?
Initially, it was my dad and Mike Bednar, and we when we started initially, we built sets and we filmed here locally in the DC area, and then we got a great building in St. Mary's, Georgia, thanks to Bill Gross down there, and we erected. We started to build the bridge set. Up until that point, we had, I think, we had a shuttlecraft, a captain's quarters, a corridor, and I think that was essentially it. And a turbolift set. We had a turbolift set of all sets. So we took all those sets, we transported them down, and we started to build the bridge set, and it took like 5 years to build in some
5 years.
I mean, probably less than that, but it was, you know, you build more of the pie stations, you build more and more pieces. But that set, the flagship set, that one took serious time. But our volunteers, Greg Green, Royal Weaver, a lot of them, Dan Scanlon, they all came and worked on weekends to build those sets. But Mike was our director of set construction, and he led those efforts.
Wow, that's pretty incredible.
Yes,
you know,
I mean, that was a feat.
So at first I thought this has something to do with the Ticonderoga set that Crawley had.
Oh, well, let me give a nod to James Colley and New Voyages.
Yeah.
In our first episode, thanks to James, we were able to film. When I wrote the script, The Captaincy, that was our pilot, I never expected that we would be able to film on the bridge set. So I wrote this story to all take place within the captain's quarters, and we were just going to be creative and show the beam down of the crew and not really have to explain. People have seen enough Star Trek to kind of know the inner workings and how people come up and down. And the story was to take place mainly on the planet. But Paul Sieber and I were able to, through the generosity of James Colley, go up there and film use the transporter room set and the bridge set. And it added a lot of value to our first pilot. And it was, I have to tell you, the experience, one thing that I'm totally grateful for James, and he does this for not just me, but for a lot of people. When they first go up to see the sets, and now it's a museum.
Yes.
Anyone and everyone can go. But before then, it was a film set.
Yeah.
And James had me stand behind the turbo lift. You could hear the bridge sound effects, and he has the door open, and everything is all lit, and it's encased. Everything is a 365. It's not like the film set, and not like the film set that we had. It was totally enclosed, so you would walk in there as you thought it would be. You know, the Enterprise being real, you would walk onto the bridge set, and to have all the sound effects and everything lighting up for the first time, that was an experience, and I'll cherish that moment forever. He did a really good job, and he does that for. I'm sure he's done that for other people, but I was totally grateful that he did that for me.
Well, that is, and the realism that you guys have created for us serious Trek fans is very gracious. We appreciate it. We love you for that. But that's something that I did not know or did not expect of my friends on my friends list. It's the reason why this show even exists. But the talent that I keep coming across each and every day just gobsmacks me to infinity and beyond. And it's amazing. It's amazing what you guys have done. And I think the boys are watching, Phil and Pat.
The Duff brothers. Those are not only good supporters, they're good. I think those two individuals are also producers on our homecoming episode.
That's good to hear. I've known these guys since I was, first in at least 30 years. I think I've known them, but these guys, 30 or 35.
The first time that I met him, Mark, an interesting story. I was with, I went to Paul Sieber invited me to meet with Dennis Bailey, and I'd met Dennis.
Oh yeah, I know Dennis.
And I didn't know the Duff brothers, but Paul Sieber and I met Dennis Bailey and the Duff brothers, and it had to have been 2005, and we sat down, and Dennis Bailey, who you may or may not know.
Oh yeah, I know Dennis well.
Okay.
Yeah.
For those that don't know,
yeah,
he wrote an episode called Tin Man for Star Trek: The Next Generation.
Yes, he did.
And I believe he also co-wrote or fixed the script for another episode, Star Trek First Contact, the episode with Riker. And he reworked that. So we met with him, and the purpose was Paul wanted to get some feedback, and we shared our script, and we talked to him about fan films and such. But the Duff brothers were sitting with Paul and I when we were talking with Dennis, and that's the first time I had met with them back in 2005. Wow,
that's incredible. Yeah, I've known them longer than that, of course. But they were skinny then, as we all were.
Skinny then. They're skinny now. What are you talking about?
Kinda. Yeah, I'm sure they're gonna text me, or I think I saw him put a message up on my Facebook page or whatever. But
those two handsome.
Yeah, I know these guys. They gotta be at least my age. I think they're close to. But we all stay young when we're when we have Star Trek wrapped around us. That just happens.
People have probably seen them at cons as Lore and Data.
Yes, they come as Lore and Data. If you guys don't know, I also have some German friends, and they're not twins, identical twins, but they look closely alike, and they do the same thing at the Germany conventions that I was hosting for decades. So that's pretty interesting. All right, so we're gonna move on to our final topic here, our final segment here. Basically, I think we've played all the trailers. We're gonna play the Homecoming trailer at the end of this segment. If you got, you just got brighter. If you guys,
what happened?
Yeah, I don't know. It's a sun flash. With Stan Lee, the segment with the trailer with Stan Lee. If you guys are just popping in at the last minute, which is a lot of you, I see jumped in. We'll play that again and show you. Let's go ahead and take your new assignment, and you're gonna have to tell me how you want me to run it. I'll go piece by piece on the slideshow, on the PowerPoint. Okay. So if you remember how you sent it to me.
Yeah, and that content, it was developed for the Shore Leave Convention in 2015. So I'm just repurposing that. So it's not. It's. People should know that after Homecoming, we were working on the new spinoff of Farragut, and so that was used to kind of educate and get and for recruiting purposes to get other volunteers involved. But I thought it was relevant now because all that was tabled. Farragut Forward. In 2016, we had the election, which was very divisive. We had the fan film guidelines, which was published, which coincidentally for us came about 6 months after we sold the sets. So we were, it couldn't have been a better blessing from God in terms of when the sets were sold. And but so we had the election, we had the fan film guidelines, we had another infamous fan film project, which hasn't showed the best positive light for fan films. And it was at that point I kind of threw my hands up at doing anything fan film or even Star Trek, and tabled all of this it's been 5 years. So
5 years. Wow, it's amazing. It's amazing. So how did this project come about? Because you're telling me this was not a creation after you've thrown your hands up. It was actually somehow in the can a bit.
It was already in development. I would say going as far back as 2012, and it was 2013 that I was really getting everything together. We had a team of wardrobe people helping me build costumes. We started to build a set in my garage. Johnny Karzai, who we're working with now, who's involved in a much more prominent role than before, he was working on the Klingon set for the this new project, and he's a big Klingon fan.
Yep.
And just as I am meticulous about the costumes from the Wrath of Khan, he has just got all this wealth of knowledge as it relates to the Klingons. John Paladin is a good friend of his who does the makeup. Every detail of his costume is immaculate. He was already helping us, but it was very confined to one aspect of the project. But now he's on board as our director of cinematographer and director. So much more prominent role than before. And I think that having tabled this for 5 years was actually was a good thing.
Yeah.
Because we've gotten older and better at some of this. the stars aligned in terms of John's availability and him filming. I can tell you a lot of painful lessons learned as it relates to filming a project like this, especially with, I haven't always had the good fortune to work with good camera operators and director of cinematography. Matt Busey is an exception, as well as I think Johnny. And I'm not disparaging anyone for that matter, but just getting someone that really can work in this kind of environment is a rarity. So we locked him on board. That was a blessing. And the timing just seems right for what we're trying to do. And I don't think it would have been had we launched when we were planning to in 2016.
Right. Well, and what is the name of this project? As if I didn't know, but just for the audience.
It's called Farragut Forward, and
got it.
That's an old image.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah, that is an old dated image. We're not using some of the characters from that.
Yeah, I don't think I have any.
And I don't even look anything like.
Well, you don't think that's you?
There. So,
well, there's a lot more
we've got some new characters involved, and you'll see some regular Farraguteers, some Farragut familiars involved in the new project. I think timing wise, I mean, I feel like whether it's me or the character would be much more seasoned than Carter was. This is not your daddy's Farragut, as Johnny has said about our project. This is not your daddy's Farragut is the new tagline for Farragut Forward. And it'll be a much more darker trek, if you will.
Right. And let me just go ahead and start this. And please excuse the level of technology that I'm using to do this, but this came right before showtime, so I didn't have a chance to put it in the positions that I like to have them in, but I'll try my best. I'm just going to basically share the screen of what I have here, and you can go ahead and talk through what we're looking at.
So that's a new image of our new ship. Next slide, or next image.
Let's see if it'll work that way. Yo, okay, how about that? I got it. Mm-hmm.
So at the time in 2015, we were over 10 years old. And these are just some clips of some of our film work. A crew log from A Rock and a Hard Place. You had the captaincy from 2006. Another crew log just passing through in 2008. And then For One of a Nail in 2007. Next slide. Just our Farragut principles. Next slide. This is we've got like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We're working to release number 6, full episode, if you will, episodic film. We'll have 6 of those. We've got, oh my gosh, in terms of vignettes or crew logs, as we like to call them, we've got the Trek isolation ones in there as well.
Hey, who did your poster on?
Then we've got the animated episode. So we've got a nice, and we've even got a comic book.
Wow.
So we've got, across all media in terms of content, we've got a nice body of work. Next slide.
Hey, John, who did your poster work? Cover work, poster work.
Easton, who did a lot of photography work up at New Voyages.
Yeah.
The Price of Anything, that montage was done by Vic Mignogna, and the look and feel that he was going for was, because it was a father and son, he got some inspiration from Indiana Jones and the one with Sean Connery, Last Crusade.
Yeah, Last Crusade, exactly.
Yeah, so there was some inspiration on that. And Rob Turner, graphic designer Rob Turner, did some work.
Okay. And that's pretty much a description of the episode, right? Or
yeah, where we take off. Yeah, it'll be 10 years from the last TOS episode to where we'll be showing stuff in the Farragut Forward universe.
Right. Just tell me when.
Next slide.
Okay.
And this was our roadmap, and this again is 5 years old, but it kind of shows you what the intent was, and it shows some of our body of work and how we launched Trek Isolation, was working to do some more episodes. We have Homecoming, and then Farragut Forward was to be launched in 2016. Again, everything was tabled, but this was the roadmap, and even with the guidelines, we're planning to. So we're working on a teaser trailer now. There will be, if there's enough interest after we launch the teaser trailer, and I'm optimistic there will be, then we will do a crowdfunder for I call it the full feature. It won't be that long because of the fan film guidelines, but it would be our big Wrath of Khan episode.
Wow.
And for me, that's, if I didn't make any more Farragut Forward episodes, that would be it. I mean, that would be the end game. That at least we had our big space epic battle, Wrath of Khan episode for Starship Farragut. And it brings back one of our favorite villains into the series. And so
hey, I'll be your manager. I'll be your manager on this. Tell this guy to send money. Obviously, you know who he is. All right. Keep going. I'm sorry, John.
So yeah, but I mean, there's some options that we have, and I've put together our new roadmap on where we could take this, and trying to comply with the guidelines. I know it's guidelines, and I'm not trying to keep doing this forever, but I love the movie era of Trek, those uniforms, and no one really has done that I'm aware of has done a fan film. They've done classic Trek, and they've done the TNG on up of fan films, but no one has really tapped into the movie era in terms of sets, props, costumes, and really do what we've done with Farragut.
Yeah.
And that is the goal. That's the vision of where we want to do what we want to do with Farragut Forward.
Okay. Next slide.
Yes.
Well, we know this is old.
Yeah, that's old. You can keep going.
Yeah, Michael still associated with you guys, or will be associated?
He's written a script, and I want to move forward. We won't be filming that first, but I do have it in the roadmap from a different. Yes,
got it.
Film that. I want to do it because he wrote an exceptional script, and for those that do not know Michael Jan Friedman, not only has he written many Star Trek novels and other books, he has also written the movie novel adaptations of all the Marvel comic movies. So the Avengers in that. I mean, so he's multi-genre. He's an established writer. We would definitely want to film his story because it's a really good. It's Trek.
Yeah.
And would like to see it. So
okay, he's probably watching this broadcast right now. He's another one of my good friends on my friends list. So I'm sure he's banging on a screen right now, like, what do you mean I'm on hold?
Yes, he wrote. I gave him some parameters in the sense of what we could realistically film in terms of sets, props. I mean sets. And here. Oh, there he is. Oh, on the way.
No, that's not. It's not. It's just a comment. Yeah, but I'm sure he's.
But yeah, he wrote an exceptional story based on what I thought we could film at the time, and okay. So it's the intent to film his script second.
Got it. Okay, so
and you can just toggle through these slides. They're really just showing you that we are working to build the sets, and that what you see there in that oval is what we would be building. Because we don't need to build a whole freaking bridge set, and but that's the set we would be building.
Wow!
And the console, I can't tell you all the screen captures I've looked at from the
Whoops.
TMP and the Wrath of Khan and Star Trek 3
Right.
of those chairs in that console.
Wow. Well, you have some more. Is there a percentage you can tell me of where this is in terms of production? You're in pre-production now, right?
Correct. Mm-hmm.
Okay. What percentage of pre-production are you in?
Oh, we are. Well, we'll be filming here soon, so we're already, in terms of the sets, we build what's needed. The set, the bridge set is in development now, construction now, if you will.
Wow. Okay. Well, that's
and we've got a place we've secured up in Frederick, Maryland.
Yeah.
Where we'll be filming, and so the intent is, I would love to do like what we did with Farragut, where we have these sets. I would never want to destroy them.
Wow. Well, you've obviously alerted, especially online here with us today, watching us today, you've obviously alerted people who want to be a part of this already. So, that's, up to you on how you want to contact them. They can.
Well, sure. I mean, people want to reach out to me through Facebook. You're welcome to.
Yeah.
There's some, in addition to some set construction people, I can tell you I need a welder. Those rails and the captain's chair. I need a welder. So that's one skill set. Someone hopefully is local in the DMV area that could help with that.
Okay, this is the time. Is there anything or anybody else that you need? You want to try and get out? Because this, folks, this show can be viewed again. It's a tape show. You can go back on the YouTube channel and you can watch this and email this show to anybody you may know who want to help John out. Yeah, is there anything else you need, John? You need a black guy? I'm sure I can do something. I just don't do socks. Okay, just let you know.
I think the biggest thing right now is, what? I will say this. Finding people never been really a problem. I can tell you, but more people doesn't always equate to better results. I can tell you. And that's one of the reasons why Homecoming is still in post-production hell, because we had a team of CGI artists that were supposed to. And I can tell you that when we've had people that were dual-hatted, we got better output. We had people that would just double up and do what was needed. When you get more and more people involved, the level of quality and then, commitment, it's not always there. And so I can tell you that I'm sure that those that are also filmmakers can attest to, they wear multiple hats and they get things done. And people want to be they want to be involved. They want to help. They want to be on film. They want to be on the Star Trek set wearing the uniform and see themselves. There's a lot of work that goes into doing these productions, and I can just tell you that more people doesn't always equate to better results.
Sure.
And whether so.
Yeah. Are these people still involved? Your modeler here and your CGI set consultant?
Donnie is involved, and he is a great thing about Donnie is that I believe he's involved in Star Trek Online. Oh, and he's done exceptionally well, and he's just a talented CGI artist.
Wow, that's great.
A lot of his sets have been very helpful,
yeah,
for modeling and for putting together blueprints. A lot of these sets, unlike the classic Trek stuff, I mean, we have some stuff in terms of set blueprints, but I haven't been able to find any of the numbering, associated with in terms of measurements. So it's very not legible. So we've, it's his work coupled with another guy who helping us on the production has been helping us. And here I just wanted to share this one image that we actually, in terms of licensing we actually had developed kind of our own or Starfleet badge to kind of get around. Everything with Starship Farragut up to this point hasn't touched any of the licensing. You know, it was never called Star Trek. It was Starship Farragut. We had our own ship design. It was never although we had a cameo with the Enterprise and Kirk a couple of times, we tried our best effort to stay away from things that were, intellectual property.
Sure.
And I feel like we did a pretty good job of respecting the IP of Paramount CBS. On this one, we opted to not, we look. We did consider, a few things, but
I can imagine that the producers, even the props and special effects guys, probably had a knock at the door from Paramount, talking about the Orville production. I'm sure at some point they either did a lot of research ahead of hand, or Paramount saw something that they said, you got to change that too. We don't like that. So you're not the only one. Go ahead.
And I've got a great team of wardrobe people helping us. The ones that started to work with us in 2015 have all come back, and including one new individual, Edna Singleton, who is helping us. She sells a lot of the movie era undershirts and vests, and she's on board. That uniform that Kirk is wearing, it took me, I think, 2 evenings to cut all the fabric, all the pieces to make that jacket. Whereas in the one evening, I would have made a classic Trek uniform from start to finish with all the rank braid and I would have been start to finish. Yeah. Whereas that one is very, very elaborate. And before Robert Fletcher died, which was earlier this year, in 2015, I had spoken to him several times. I had his phone number. I'm not sure how I got it, but I spoke to him from Arizona. And what was impressive about Robert Fletcher was that he had extraordinary good memory recall. He was able to answer all my geek questions and other questions related to the uniforms and design. And one of the things that I remember the most was that he was more proud of developing the look of the Klingons. And that's a thing that I don't think most people take in consideration, is that how the Klingons look in both the movies and in all the spin-offs, Next Gen, Voyager, Deep Space Nine. It's because of Robert Fletcher, his design. And he sent me a book and autographed it to me. And inside his book, there's like one picture of a Starfleet uniform, and everything else as relates to Trek is about the Klingons.
Wow.
The drawings. He was just very proud of the Klingons. And I was very disinterested in the Klingons. I was more interested in the uniforms, and he talked about his work on Star Trek 1 through 4. Then in 5, it was someone else using his designs, and as well as with 6, which I think Robert Blackman may have done it. But,
wow.
But yeah, it was and how the uniforms how they in the motion picture, he was the costume designer for the motion picture, and I believe Nick Meyer had a lot of feedback, and he was very much involved in the wardrobe, the new uniforms. That right there, is a design that we were looking for, to kind of streamline making those jackets and have a more casual jacket, if you will, because they're just so elaborate. They're very much like a dress uniform. So Michael Coward, and I think that's Peter Christian's design, if I'm not mistaken, but Michael Coward developed the patterns for that jacket. And that's what we're still looking at deploying that, because it'll be much more simple to build, because it's more like a jacket, versus a suit jacket.
Yeah, you're right. That's gorgeous. Okay, that's not the last clip, is it? Oh, that was the first. Oh, this was the last clip.
Yeah, that was all that I was wanting to show at this point in time. We are doing this. Johnny and I will both be at AwesomeCon.
Oh, good. Okay.
I think it's next weekend. We'll be exhibiting there. He's showing his film, The Killer of Grassy Ridge, in one of the film short competitions. So we'll be on hand to. I'm sure we'll be walking around talking to people, but Farragut Films will be exhibiting there.
Wow. Hey, John, this has been incredible. This is probably one of my favorite interviews so far. And I think the fact that it is one of my favorites because it was so informative and promising for the future of Farragut Films and yourself. We never stop getting enough of classic Trek, I'm going to say, TOS. And you seem to be carrying on that banner, and I'm really, really appreciative of your involvement in all things Star Trek. And you seem to have a lot of friends, both online, who've been watching this broadcast here of me knowing you, shall I say. But like I promised, we're going to end this. I have another question, final question for you. But after that, we're going to show that trailer, which was virtually the most incredible standing appearance. Yeah, Homecoming. Yeah, that one we're going to show because that's the only one we have left that you gave us. Okay. I'm just happy of what you gave us in the first place. But here is my final question to you, and then you can follow up with any comment you want to make. But I asked this of all my friends once they're on the hot seat, as I call this, and that is, what is it that you could tell us that no one else knows? It's okay. It's okay if your wife knows it, but what is it? It could be an event that you've done. It could have been a meeting that you've had. You could have fell down the stairs at your house and played it off. What is it in your life that you could tell us that no one else knows?
Oh my gosh. Something that nobody else.
Yeah, and if it's that hard, that means, man, you got a big mouth. A event, something that happened at a store, in a store, something that something you thought no one would care of hearing.
Well, I will say this: I've the last couple of weeks I've been watching like the motion picture all the way to Star Trek Generations and Star Trek V, which I didn't really. I thought it was a good popcorn type film. I tell you, Jerry Goldsmith's score is probably one of the best scores.
I agree. I'm a big fan of Jerry Goldsmith's work.
And rewatching that film, I was just blown away by how good his score was. And then it certainly was, good on the motion picture. And he's done, I think, some other Star Trek. I think he did Nemesis, but his score in Star Trek V is exceptional. And that's just something that I didn't think about until recently. So I share that with you and your audience.
Well, that's worthy. I mean, it's in the category of what I wanted to hear because I'm a big soundtrack buff, motion picture soundtrack buff. I have a lot of, respect for a lot of the old composers, Bernard Herrmann and things of that nature. So I'm always
Bernard did what's the movie? It's from the 60s.
There's a few of them in the 60s.
Yes.
that Bernard
The Great Escape, or
yes, he did The Great Escape, I think. Oh, you got me on that one. I think he did The Great Escape. I wasn't thinking of that one, but he did a lot of Alfred Hitchcock stuff. North by Northwest.
Yes.
The Day the Earth Stood Still, I think he did. Did he do Day the Earth Stood? But that kind of music, that level of music. I'm a big Johnny Quest fan. If you like Hoyt Curtin, who did all of the soundtrack work for Johnny Quest, I'm listening to the soundtrack all the time, and I find stuff that I've never listened to because people are more into watching the action and really are not using their ears much in terms of the background music, which really guides a lot of the story. With every movie, I can only imagine eliminating soundtracks out of a scene that you're filming, let's say, and how that would come off just hearing people speak their lines. But then when you add a soundtrack to it, how it emphasizes certain levels.
Yeah, the soundtrack. I mean, when you think about, can you imagine watching Rocky when he's running the streets of Philly and climbs up without the soundtrack?
Right. I can imagine. I'm listening to this guy breathe. That's all I'm hearing is.
And the score, James Horner's score for Star Trek II.
Yeah.
I mean, just those scenes and those moments. A soundtrack. I mean, you think about The Great Escape, The Magnificent Seven. I mean, just all the great movies.
I am fans. I listen to that at work. While I work, I'm listening to movie soundtracks all the time. I'm just a fan of it. Even as recent as Interstellar. If you listen to the Interstellar soundtrack, it's just it drives that movie so well. Okay, so if you have any comments, we're gonna go ahead and let you speak on that, and then after that, we're gonna go ahead and show the Stan Lee clip, and then we're gonna just fade out with the show. Yeah. And I'll talk to you on the back end. You can go ahead and we've been on here for 90 minutes, and that's fantastic. I'm happy about that, but I'm not going to hold you any longer just to say thank you. I'm going to say thank you right now in front of everybody. You've been incredible, been fantastic. I look forward to speaking to you again, reacquainting ourselves with each other, and so on.
And I would just like to thank all of our fan base. I was surprised being reconnected, with Starship Farragut, just looking. I mean, our fan base has grown. I was blown away by how many more people that continually find us on the net through social media and through word of mouth, and just I was just blown away. And we've always received a lot of compliments and adulation and from everyone involved with Starship Farragut. Thank you. And then to the cast and crew, thank you for being patient with us in terms of the Homecoming film. Those that, in terms of the cast and crew, they're aware of some of the challenges that we've had, but the film will be out soon enough. And those that want to be involved in the new iteration, we'll go from there.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, this has been John Broughton with Starship Farragut. Fantastic individual. You guys need to find him on Facebook. Tell him you saw him, tell him you saw him on this show, so that he doesn't, put you in the category of all the weirdos who said, "I just think you're good looking. I want to be your friend."
Well, and to that, Mark, if you don't mind, if people,
sure,
we have our Starship Farragut on Facebook, on Instagram. My account is Bespoke JB, so if you could please like that. I push out a lot of what's going on with Farragut, and if you're a James Bond fan, as well as DIY projects and British tailoring, I post stuff on there. So Bespoke JB on Instagram and Facebook, and our Starship Farragut page on Facebook.
That's fantastic. Guys, keep up with John. He is around. And in closing, we're going to go ahead and play that trailer for Homecoming. I want to thank each and every one of you guys for joining me tonight. I really appreciate it. I know there's a lot of new faces out there, but I showcase my friends usually every Wednesdays and Fridays, sometimes Wednesday alone. And you'd be surprised what kind of skills my friends have. And actually, one of my good friends, who is Andrea Thompson from Babylon 5, I had her on. She lives in Mexico now, and she did a great show with me then too. But you guys just stick up with me in the HWWS Web TV family. We have a lot of shows that we showcased, and just stay in touch. And let's go ahead and, oops, somebody just said something, and then I missed here. Oh, yeah, absolutely. Thanks.
Thank you, Anson.
Yeah.
Good supporter and friend.
All right, guys. We'll be talking to you next time around.
And as Captain Carter would say, let's go.
Hello, John. You're to report to your home port, Utopia Planitia.
For the refit, sir?
To be decommissioned. I'm sorry, John. She just won't be able to handle the upgrade. And with the new ships in progress, well, I'm afraid her time is over. Godspeed, Starship Farragut. McCann out.